MODO morsels. They're rocking. In MODO 15, you can now create command regions on procedural geometry. Procedural rig clay, if you like. In this morsel, I will look at a couple of examples to show how this all fits together. For the first example, I will attach some controls to a polygon bevel. As you know, my ambition knows no bounds. First off, you'll be wanting your schematic viewport and particle operations stack open. And we can add a cube primitive. I'm really on fire today. Then add a polygon bevel on top. I don't want the top and bottom to be beveled because this gives me a chance to show off my selection skills. To select the side faces only, add the polygon selection operator, and then we can use the normal in the Y direction to select the side faces, since their normals will have a 0Y component. As usual, you can separate the channels to make the schematic layout easier to read. Add a logic A is equal to B node to the schematic and feed the Y coordinate into value A. The result will then be used to select the faces. Now we can edit the bevel. Click Ungroup Polygons if you'd prefer that. Next we can add our command region. This specifies which polygons will be used to make the commands. By default everything is selected, but I just want to use the front faces of the bevel. So I'll use a select by previous operation and choose the polygon bevel front faces. Now the command region just applies to those front faces. Pull the command region into the schematic. The command region node defines which faces will be active, but we need to add a gesture to control how they will interact. Connect the command region to the gesture and then pull in the bevel's shift channel. Connect the channels channel of the gesture to the bevel shift channel. That's easy to write and hard to say. Now decide how you want the gesture to behave. For my part, I would like it to respond to left mouse drag in the horizontal direction. Give it a quick test. It works. Note, if it doesn't work for you, you will probably need to enable command regions in the Controls tab of the Setup section. While I'm noodling, I'll change the highlight colour to green. A pretty radical move, I know, although I would have preferred it if the RGB channels were separate from the alpha channel. Next up, let's add another gesture to control the inset. We will use the same command region, so there is no need to add another one of those. Drag in the inset channel, then add a new gesture node. Connect the command region, then choose right drag for this gesture and connect it to the inset channel. Now a right mouse drag controls the inset and a left mouse drag controls the shift. As a final flourish, let's add another control on the sides of the bevel to control the number of segments. So first things first, let's drag the segments channel into the schematic and then add a new command region. By default, again, we see that all the polygons are selected. I'll just drag that quickly up to the top of the stack and drag it into the schematic. Next, we're going to need a new gesture node. So select that and drag it in and connect it to the command region. For this gesture, I'll go with left drag. We just now need to connect it up to the segments channel and everything should be fine. Except, of course, that we've now overridden the previous command region, so we need to be a little selective. Let's add a select by previous operation to the command region, and this time we will select the polygon bevel sides, and now the command regions are now distinct and everything is working. It's a miracle. We can even add another cube to join in with the fun. That's it. In this example, I will add some controls to this scene featuring Sybil the Halfling Bard and her pink companion cube. I'm wondering how well my MODO and graphics card are performing, so I'll add a command to the companion cube to turn the GL meter on and off. Add a command region to the cube and drag it into the schematic. Then a gesture. Left click is good for this one. And finally a command region command node. Type in the command, in this case GL meter, and now clicking on the cube will turn the GL meter on and off. It looks like my graphics card is performing well enough. Another feature of MODO 15 is that command regions will now also work in the 2D viewports. Notice that by default the two views are linked. You can unlink them by pressing O to bring up the viewport properties and change the master viewport setting from perspective to orthographic. Next, I'll add a couple of gestures to control Sybil's rotation. Add a gesture node and connect it to the command region. Select right drag horizontal for the gesture. Now drag Sybil's Y rotation channel into the schematic and connect it to the gesture node. Let's bring back the 2D front view to test it. Guess who forgot to turn on command regions? I'm dragging to control the rotation, but it is very slow. We can fix that by adjusting the sensitivity of the gesture node. 400% should do the trick. There, that feels better. We can repeat the process for the X rotation. Add a gesture node, connect it to the X rotation channel of the model. This time we'll use right mouse drag in the vertical direction. Set the sensitivity to 400% and invert it to get the natural rotation direction. All I need to do now is turn off that pesky GL meter with my left mouse button. Rock on.